The Knicks post-game show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Karl Anthony Towns with a monster game tonight, 24-13. Jalen Brunson had 32. And the Knicks live to fight another day as they win it 111-94. Great to have you with us from our Delta MHC studios. Bill Pidto along with Wally Szczerbiak. How about for a defensive performance?
Just impressive, and it showed what this team is capable of. They did it from the beginning, and Josh Hart and company were awesome.
Speaking of Josh Hart, he's standing by across the street with Alan Hahn. Alan, take it away.
Thank you, Bill. All right, well, Josh, it felt like from the very start of this game, there was no way you guys were going to let the season end on your home floor. What was the attitude right from the start?
Yeah, man, we had to come out. The biggest thing was make sure we come out, end that first quarter with a lead, and continue to build upon it. We haven't started games how we kind of wanted to in this series and really in the playoffs. So we knew we had to do it from the jump.
The two stars obviously showed up and they put up big numbers. But how about what you got off the bench from several different people now over the last couple of games, but especially in this night?
Yeah, man, it's about effort. When you have mental lapses, the next man's there to pick it up. And that's what it is to be a team and be on one accord, man. We don't care who gets the love, who gets the shine. We just want to win at the end of the day.
All right, so last thing here is, has the momentum shifted now? Is there pressure now on them because they go home, and if they don't win, they have to come back here?
Man, that's for y'all to talk about. Our biggest thing is to watch film tomorrow, get better, and end the first quarter in Game 6 with a lead.
All right, great stuff. Thanks very much, Josh. Bill?
Alan, thank you very much. So 94 points for the Pacers, fewest they've scored in these playoffs. And Tyrese Halliburton only took 7 shots. That's the fewest shots he's taken throughout these playoffs. How did he only get off 7 shots?
It was the Knicks' defense, their aggressiveness, their connectivity. It was just amazing. And the game of basketball, it's just like a head-to-head. Who wants it more? And you could see that the Knicks were doing everything with that little bit more aggressiveness, attacking, just keeping the Pacers a little bit off. And that's what you have to do against this team. If you let this team find their flow, find their rhythm, and not be uncomfortable and let them play comfortable, they will blow you out of the gym because that's how they like to play. But if you get them off their spots a little bit, if you make them start their offense a little bit further out than they're used to, if you make them veer out off those screens and not just go straight to the basket, the angles of passes, the shots, the way they come, they're not as much in rhythm. And the Knicks completely disrupted an amazing offensive team. They showed they had the capability to do it. They did it against Boston when they closed them out in Game 6 in the first round. Now they have to do it on the road in Indiana on Saturday.
Indiana never led. A wire-to-wire win for the Knicks. Look at the scene. Summer stage in Central Park. That's a happy crowd, and they hope they'll be able to watch a Game 7. And for that to happen, the Knicks have to win at Indiana on Saturday on Game 6. Jalen Brunson, how about the start to this game?
Yeah.
We talked about the start. Last game, Knicks gave up 43 first-quarter points. Tonight, the Knicks gave up only 23 first-quarter points, and Jalen Brunson started the game, Wally, with 6 straight points. He ended up with a huge 14-point first quarter, and he did the same thing in the third quarter. He was really at his best in the beginning of the first and third quarter, and we always talk about that being 2 key sequences in every game.
He took it upon himself to just be fed up with the plus-minus of the starters to start the games. He said, I've had it. We shouldn't be digging ourselves a hole every single first quarter. And he said, I'm just going to be ultra-aggressive. I'm looking for my shot every time I touch it, and I'm going to get buckets. And he is going against a compromised Aaron Nesmith. And it's going to show up in this series. Nesmith was amazing in Game 4, the adrenaline of his home crowd. But he is not the same player with that ankle injury. Jalen has to attack him at every opportunity. He can't let this team off the hook by getting rid of the ball and not looking to push and pressure these guys. I love the Knicks made an adjustment too. They were setting him screens in the backcourt. They were setting him screens right over half court. They were giving him help dealing with that pressure. Karl Anthony Towns was running into the backcourt, and Bridges was running into the backcourt, getting those guys off him for 94 feet. that works wonders for Jalen Brunson having more room to operate. But now the Knicks have to be ready for adjustments to be made by Indiana, because the Knicks made outstanding adjustments, the way they picked up Halliburton further up, the way they screened for Brunson further in the backcourt to give him extra room. Indiana's going to make some adjustments at home, and the Knicks got to be ready for him.
All right, so Brunson, 32 points, 14 in the first quarter, 16 in the third quarter. Alan Hahn back with us across the street. Al, let's get your take on the Knicks defense tonight. It was absolutely fantastic.
Look no further than winning the turnover margin, which is what we talked about as one of the keys to the game in the pregame show. And they were able to force turnovers. The Pacers had not turned the ball over. The Knicks defense has been a team that can turn you over and turn them into points. And that was a huge part of the game. That defense, it was stifling. They took the pain away. You saw Tyrese Halliburton came off a career game in Game 4, and he was an absolute no-show. They took him out of the game. They kept making sure that he saw bodies and felt bodies everywhere he went, and it really disrupted their offense. So to me, the Knicks did still have too many turnovers. I mean, they still got to 15, but forcing 20, that's a huge number, and that is certainly something that they need to build off of.
Yeah, Alan, that was an exciting performance. Gives you a lot of optimism for this Knicks team going into Indiana. How do they put all the puzzle pieces together and get this win in Game 6?
It's the effort that you saw, the second and third efforts that Tom Thibodeau talks about on the defensive end. It starts certainly there. And the Knicks shot the ball well, but you still had, it wasn't as if they shot the lights out. This was a hard work kind of win, which was important. But to hold a team like the Pacers under 100 points. It was one thing to hold them to 100 in the Game 3 win, but to keep them under 100, that's saying a lot. And I also felt like the Knicks did a really good job answering every push the Pacers had in the second half. They got it to 20, cut it to 10. Knicks pushed back. There were a couple of times, we all remember, it was a 17-point lead early fourth quarter, and everybody around me here on the court was thinking about, talking about Game 6. I said, hang on a second. We were here Game 1. It's not over until you hear that final buzzer or Carlisle sends in the bench. So I think the resiliency of the Knicks and making sure that they keep having these pushbacks, that's important. And Wally, you said it, playing with a lead. I remember we talked about this in the pregame, how important it was for the Knicks to play with a lead at the very start and then make sure they were the team being chased. It was a lot, I think, better for the Knicks to do that. Now, they were home. They had the home crowd. Can they do it on the road?
All right, Alan, we'll see you when you come back to join us here in the studio in a couple of moments. Wally, Karl Anthony Towns, I thought key, second quarter with Jalen Brunson resting.
Yeah.
Towns scored 12 of his 24, and with Brunson out, the Knicks outscored the Pacers 18-11 to build on their first quarter lead.
Yeah, he's adopted a nice little feel with that second unit, surrounded by 4 outstanding defenders that can switch everything. They all know we're getting the ball to Karl Anthony Towns every single possession. We're going to let him go to work. We're going to space the floor for him. He is going to become the point center, the scoring center, the do-it-all center. And Pacers have no answer for him, and that's been evident the whole entire series. Another monster, 24 and 13, 3 assists, just skill level through the roof. Knee looks good, and that's a big thing. I think health in a series like this, with how physical it's been, with how long the season is in the playoffs, they get grueling. And the fact that the Knicks are going into this Game 6, for the most part, it looks like these guys are as fresh as you can possibly be. That's a really good sign for this New York Knicks team. And those two, you got to remember, they were top 10 in MVP voting. The Knicks have 2 guys that were all-stars and 2 guys where they were top 10 in a 30-team league in MVP voting. I mean, they are superstars personified. They are the 2 best players you can argue on the floor. And it's not even, Halliburton's right there, yes. But those 2, as far as the league looking at them, they would be the first 2 picks in a pickup game, I think, for most guys. So the Knicks have to find a way to figure out how to get them to play to their max potential each game, and they found it with Brunson going off in the first quarter, and then when Brunson's out of the game, let Cat do his thing with the second unit, which has been dominant in this series.
Only one Pacer starter, Wally, scored in double figures. Siakam had 15. Nesmith, 3. Turner, 5. He was not on his game. Mentioned Halliburton, took only 7 shots, 8 points. And Nembhard, only 6 points.
And that's what you have to do with this team. This team, they like to just not be bugged. They like to not be knocked off their spots. They like to be ahead. They're not the type of team that's going to grind out wins. The Knicks, if they can show them that we're not going to let you get whatever you want, we're not going to let you shoot 50, 40, 90 from the field, from three, and from the free throw line, this team does not want to play ugly basketball. The Knicks have to do this in Indiana. It's not easy because this team is the best offensive team we've maybe historically ever seen in the NBA, but there is a way to knock them a little off their game, and the Knicks showed how to do it tonight.
Knicks started with such incredible defensive intensity, carried it through the entire game, and they forced a Game 6 Saturday night at Indiana. Much to come here on our hour-long postgame show. Tom Thibodeau's postgame comments coming up, and Monica McNutt's postgame perspective. Also ahead. Stay with us.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Knicks beat the Pacers 111-94. Central Park, Summer Stage, fans cheering the win on as the Knicks force a Game 6. And it's going to be in Indianapolis Saturday night. We have our pregame at 7 for an hour-long pregame show and an hour-long postgame show after the game, as always. Tom Thibodeau's postgame comments, as always, presented by Chase.
Yeah, I just mentioned, I thought the aggressiveness of Jalen and Cat to start offensively, and then the group being tied together defensively. Then when the bench came in, they did the same thing, and then we were mixing and matching, and and the foul trouble changed some rotations as well.
Coach, what can you do, especially for Josh, to limit the live ball turnovers, just make things easier for him offensively, so you're not letting them get out in transition?
Yeah, just and it's not just him. It's I think the big thing is keeping it simple. The first open man, hit him. Oftentimes that intent is good, but we're trying to thread the needle, and we can't do that. But it's not just it's our entire team. And usually we're a low turnover team. We think that a big part of winning is your defense, your rebounding, and keeping your turnovers down. That puts you in position to win, regardless of how you shoot the ball. Some nights you're going to shoot it better than others.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Knicks starters outscored the Pacers starters, Wally, 85-37. Points in the paint, Knicks 60, Pacers 34. Mitchell Robinson had a lot to do with both of those numbers.
Mitchell Robinson looks as healthy as we've seen him in years. That guy, the way he's playing defense, the way he's moving, the way he's running around all over the place, covering for guys, laying it out on the defensive end of the floor, getting every rebound on the offensive end of the floor, he looks really, really dominant. And that's what should give the Knicks a lot of hope going into Game 6. They got a lot of guys that are playing at a high, high level, and they need to figure out a way to continue to keep this Pacer team down.
All right, Wally, Monica McNutt across the street has always called the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, I think your X factor was hold Indiana, below 114 points?
Yeah,
Knicks did a whole lot better than that, didn't they, tonight?
Yeah, to this point, Indiana had been 11-0 when they scored 114. The Knicks defense was terrific tonight. I keep going to 52 because that's where it was in the third quarter. 60 paint points in totality in this one. And then, guys, the number in fast break category coming into this one was something ridiculous. The Pacers had like 60. The Knicks were still in the early 20s. But tonight they were just one away in terms of the fast break category as well. This is what I will say. The Knicks had to have this win. They didn't give it away. Their season is still alive. But Tyrese Halliburton, on Saturday, when we get back to Indianapolis, the Knicks just need to be prepared for him to have a monster bounce-back game because I don't know where he was tonight.
Yeah, Monica, how do you explain, what did the Knicks do to slow him down and just make him look like he just had nothing out there and looked totally confused in trying to attack them, completely opposite from the other night?
Wally, I'm not even going to try to be like basketball savant. I'm not sure, right? I did not see a significant change defensively. I thought the Knicks played with terrific, focused effort on both sides of the floor. We talked about that composed urgency. I thought they did a good job of demonstrating that. And perhaps because the offense did not click early for the Pacers, it took a while and it took away from Tyrese Halliburton getting into it. I'm not 100% sure where he was, but I do credit this team, again, the bench unit, for coming in, holding the line, and taking this win here at home.
Monica, Coach Thibodeau had a lot of success tonight staggering Brunson and Cat. When Brunson, I talked about it with Wally, when Brunson was out in the second quarter, Cat got 12 points in the second quarter. Knicks actually extended the lead with Brunson out. It's working very well, staggering his two All-Stars.
Yeah, I think that is an adjustment that is becoming a part of their character in this series, right? And I think that's appropriate because of its effectiveness, to your point, Pidto. I also think it's imperative that those guys get an opportunity to rest, because I still say if we had clutch time late in this ballgame, they probably would have been on the floor together. And that is, of course, because they've been a terrific lineup for the Knicks at large this season in totality. So I like some of the wrinkles. I'm thoroughly enjoying the confidence from the bench unit. I believe 13 minutes for Shamit tonight, 9 points for DeLon Wright. All of those minutes matter in this one.
All right, Monica, have a safe trip back to Indiana. We'll talk to you on Saturday night.
Sounds good.
And when we come back, Rick Carlisle keeps talking about a 13-day calendar for the series. We're inching closer to that. We know there's going to be a Game 6. Maybe there'll be a Game 7. Pacers coach coming up. The Knicks never trailed tonight. They beat the Pacers 111-94 to force a Game 6, and then is on Saturday at Indiana. Pregame here at 7 o'clock, hour-long pregame show. And as always, we'll have an hour-long postgame show as the Knicks try to force a Game 7. Postgame comments now from Pacers coach Rick Carlisle.
We lost the rebound battle. We lost the turnover battle. We didn't shoot well. They had a lot to do with it, so give them credit. And we're going to have to play much better.
Rick, your starting five, a lot of guys struggled in that group. What did you see that went so poorly for them as a unit? Did the Knicks change something that led to some of those struggles?
Yeah, well, to start the game, we just didn't have the right level of force, the right level of attitude necessary, in this environment. And so, it was a bad start. We never had a lead in the game. And so, there were a multitude of things that were going wrong, and there were stretches during the game where we got a little bit of traction, but never enough.
In games 1 and 2, we came back in the second half of the game. Was there anything different this time, or just like that halftime talk?
Well, those games are ancient history now, and everything gets more intense as a series continues to evolve, and it's great competition, but we weren't at the level compete-wise that we needed to be.
I know that he's not necessarily a high-volume shooter, but Tyree's only 7 shots tonight. Do you need him to be looking to shoot more?
Yeah, as a team, we have to be aggressive, and we have to have a level of balance. I mean, I'll look at it. There's more things I'm going to have to do to help them, and so I'll take responsibility for that, and we'll see where we can improve.
Just about level of force, obviously 60 to 34 in the paint's got to be a number that stands out to you guys. On the flip side of the offensive issue, is where you kind of struggle keeping the ball away from the rim, especially when you deal with Towns and Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really overall disposition, posture, force, intensity, all that, just simply was not good enough. And look, there were some stretches. There were some stretches I thought in the third where we were doing some things and started to get some traction. I think we had it to 10 or 12 one time, and then it got back up to 13 or 14 again. So a lot of things we got to do better.
Under 16 minutes for Aaron, shorter stints for him. Is that health related? What's going into his rotation?
Just looking for people to go in there and battle. He got off to a bit of a slow start. I wasn't sure. Maybe he was slowed a little bit by the ankle. So got Shepard in there right away. Then Mathurin got a game going. So, so that dug into Aaron's minutes some. But everybody's just going to have to be ready for game 6.
Coach, looks like you guys punching down weaker defenders but couldn't get the shots on the ball. Just were you happy with the shots you guys were taking today, or did they make a good job of closing back shots even regardless?
I thought we had stretches where we had good shots and didn't convert, but overall, it wasn't, overall, wasn't good enough.
Coach is all choked up. Knicks force a game 6. Karl Anthony Towns, plus 26. That's the best plus minus of any player that played tonight. He was fantastic. Questionable coming in with the bad sore left knee. Didn't slow him down at all.
Yeah, the Knicks didn't slow down. They just continued to attack, foot on the gas all game long. Look at the attention to detail. Freeze it there. The first screen, really good screen by Mitchell Robinson, gets an open Jalen Brunson here. Then comes another screen by Mikal Bridges, and all of a sudden the Indiana Pacers, they're completely on their heels. The attention to detail by the Knicks was so good. Look at this screen by Bridges. Gets a good piece of Shepherd. He's got to go way out there. Now freeze it there. Now they're all messed up. Obi Toppin does his job. He's got to tag Mitchell Robinson. Look at how wide open this shot is. Mikal Bridges has a wide open shot. He could take that, but he knows Karl Anthony Towns is automatic from that corner. Get Cat a nice, easy 3. Knicks are off to a good start. That attention to detail is what Tom Thibodeau talks about. Just the little things. Cutting hard off that first screen when Mitchell Robinson set it for Jalen Brunson. Then making sure when you're the screener, set a legitimate screen to help your teammate get open and get an advantage. That was an outstanding possession that led to 2 wide open shots, whoever wanted to take it.
Wally, Josh Hart, again effective coming off the bench, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Another sequence we're going to show everybody. Good ball movement, leading to a bucket.
Yeah, and also screening way up top to get the Aaron Nesmith off Jalen Brunson. Here's Josh Hart and Towns. Here, even though it's a little play, you got to get a good screen onto Jalen Brunson here. So Towns comes up, look, and then look at how high up he has to come to set that screen. And look at that, freeze it there. Nesmith's trying to draw a foul. He gets nothing. Now Indiana is in deep trouble here. Josh Hart cuts to the basket. Could be an open 3 here if Tyrese Halliburton wants to come in and guard Josh Hart. And I'm telling you, I think the Pacers were willing to give up an easy layup there and didn't want to give up a 3. And this is something that you got to keep an eye on. Alan mentioned it. Sometimes when you got that shooter in the corner and there's a decision you got to make as a defender. Do I want to come in and help to take away the 2 and give a wide open 3? Sometimes you might as well just let that guy take that 2 and not the 3. And I think that's how the Pacers are taught to defend a play like that. Halliburton did not want to give up the wide open 3 in the corner.
Meantime, the headline tonight, the Knicks defense. We have a great example of how they shut down the Pacers. Take a look.
Yeah, they just made Tyrese Halliburton so much more uncomfortable. I mean, this is an outstanding possession. Look at where he gets the ball, and look at how uncomfortable he is on this screen. Look, they're confused. Siakam gets it. Mitch is in the paint. They don't know where to go. So now last second, Halliburton coming off his right hand. It's a little bit of a problem. Now freeze it here. Look, good job by Mikal Bridges just getting him a little bit of turn. And notice how when he doesn't have a running start from half court and he's not like momentum into these screens, how Mitchell Robinson, he can contain him now. Mitch has him in a good spot. They are trapping Halliburton at that lane. They're not giving up the open 3s, and they're saying, okay, if you want to try to score over Mitchell Robinson, good luck. And Mitch just absolutely volleyballs it into the first row. If you can take Halliburton away from having the momentum coming off those screens and not having a full running start, then the center has a chance to contain him, make it a tough shot at the basket, or at least contest if he's pulling up for that 3 or that pull-up jumper. That's the key of what they did tonight. They did not allow him to have that momentum, like that downhill momentum coming off those screens. As a result, they were able to contain his penetration and his speed a lot better tonight.
Also, a lot of times Bridges picked him up full court.
Yes.
Another factor.
You can turn him a couple times in the backcourt, turn him right when he gets over half court. As a result, he's looking at that screen and he's not running off the screen like he was in Indiana. He was just flying off those screens and it was uncontainable.
Much more to come on our postgame show inside the Knicks locker room when we come back. Karl Anthony Towns, huge night. They were watching this, the watch party at Summer Stage in Central Park, loving that. Knicks win it. Back with more after this. Welcome back. The Knicks force a Game 6 Saturday at Indiana as they beat the Pacers tonight in Game 5, 111-94. So here's what's ahead. If the Knicks win Saturday, Game 7 is Monday back here in New York. Hour-long pregame shows before each game, hour-long postgame shows after each game. Alan Hahn is now back here in our studio. You were in the arena all night. How about the Knicks defense? You were in there. What did you see from start to finish? This rivals Game 6 against Boston without question.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the defensive effort you saw from the very beginning of the game. It was just an added physicality that you saw right from the start. But it was the effort and the second and third efforts that were important as well. You remember how we talked about them being on a string, the idea of communication and all that stuff? You heard a lot of talking out there defensively, and there were guys that were all committed, no one giving up on a play. You saw Mitchell Robinson a chase down block. And how about Deuce McBride not giving up a layup? Like little things like that, letting a Pacer team know that you're not going to get anything easy and we're always going to be breathing down your neck. And that was a tone set early. And as you showed on the Wally wall, Halliburton was not comfortable at all in this game. And at one point he realized, like, they're taking me out of it. Someone else has to do it. I can't. And that was it was interesting to see the look in his eyes sometimes on certain possessions where you could tell he just knew they're not letting me do anything tonight. He was in shackles.
Well, and my question for you is, why can't the Knicks or any team do this every single game in terms of the defensive effort and the intensity?
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. This team picked up further up the court than they're used to. Normally, Tom Thibodeau teams and normally the Knicks, they come back and they build out from the paint. They protect the basket first. But when you play the Pacers, you got to guard them the second they inbound the ball because they'll start coming at you with momentum. And I think the Knicks, way out on the floor, I'm talking like right around half court, they started to disrupt the Pacer offense way out that far. And they're not used to doing that, getting pressure out there on the floor that far. It worked. Let's see if they can do it again in Indiana. But believe me, Indiana's going to make some adjustments, and they're going to try to not let that happen again.
Solid bench minutes again from Landry Shamet. Scored 5 points off the Knicks bench. Here he is now in the Knicks locker room.
Landry, you guys held the Pacers to 94 points tonight, 40% shooting. What was the big difference on the defensive end?
I think just our intensity, our attention to detail, sense of desperation, which is what we needed. We're going to have to go do it again. So that was the biggest thing, just our energy. Communication was great. Did a better job in transition. There's still some things we got to clean up, but we'll get to that tomorrow.
And for you, how about the standing ovation when you're checking out? They're chanting your name. They're cheering defensive plays. How did that feel from the Garden crowd?
I love New York. I love these fans. I see how they, ride the wave with us, the highs, the lows. And so it's just important for me. I just want to give everything I got to them. That's, so I appreciate it. We got more to do.
Landry, how important was the start that you saw offensively from Jalen and Cat?
Yeah, those guys, they wear a heavy burden, and JB, met it today when we needed him. Came out of the gates, set the tone for us, paced us when we were still a little stagnant to start. Made some shots for us to kind of keep us in it, get us going. And then once we all caught up to that, it was, having him kind of pace us there at the beginning, Cat getting going there in the second, it's huge.
Could you sense their frustration, what you guys were doing defensively?
I could sense a competitive game. There's, waves, like I said. So, our job's not really to pay too much attention to that. We just got to focus on us and do what we do. We know they're a hard team to guard, play fast, and if we take care of what we have to take care of, hopefully we see results like tonight.
Only 2 field goals made for Halliburton tonight. What was the difference?
Like I said, just energy, attention. We had our antennas were up earlier and more often. That's you have to have that with him. And he's a good player. He's going to, watch the film, make his adjustments. We got to do the same and prepare for that. We know the task at hand.
All right, Alan, it seems like the coach has found something here with the second unit. When you have DeLon Wright and Shamet out there in the second quarter and Brunson on the bench with Cat scoring a lot of the buckets. And it has been a group that didn't play a lot together, if at all, during the regular season, but it's starting to play really well together now.
You don't know how much they play together in scrimmages in the gym, just because a lot of guys who don't play and don't get minutes, they get their conditioning in practice when a lot of the starters don't. And so those guys probably have played together in some situations. But, again, the big story is after the first 2 games, Tom Thibodeau opened up his rotation, and he's playing 10 guys. Precious Achiuwa got in and got some minutes and had some really positive minutes, which was good for him. but he's starting to lean on his bench a little more in certain pockets of the game. And I love the defensive lineup with Karl Anthony Towns as sort of the main piece.
Right.
You let him be the go-to scorer, and he's surrounded by 4 guys that can defend. They can get up and down the floor. And that has worked now as they staggered the minutes with him and Brunson.
They can switch everything, and where opening up the bench and playing more guys is really going to benefit is in Game 6, in Game 7. Now these starters, they're not logging as many minutes as they're used to logging. And in the back end of this series, that's where it's really going to pay off when he opened up that rotation in Game 3. I mean, that was just huge.
Yeah.
If the Knicks are going to get one, they got to get the next one. Now they got to get the next one. Sure. And now they got bodies to throw at Indiana.
Rick Carlisle always talks about wearing the other team down.
Day 10, day 11, right? Where are we now?
Yeah, we may
talk
get to,
about that
we
today.
may get to day 13.
He didn't talk about that.
He didn't mention how many days.
But the Knicks may not be that tired out if it gets to day 13.
Day 13 is Monday.
DeLon Wright, excellent game again off the bench. Here he is after the contest.
When you come off the bench and bring that defensive energy, can that be contagious, to your teammates or be a spark almost?
Definitely, because I like to fly around. I like to go after the ball, be a free safety, like as you will. So I feel like once I'm getting to the passing lanes, it helps speed up the game, and my teammates feed off of it.
How important is that to obviously combating Tyrese Halliburton and not just that, but their speed on offense?
Yeah, you gotta try something different. I feel like when I come in, I just try to use my IQ. Getting deflections, disrupting their offense. I know they're high-paced offense, so I just try to do something to disrupt it.
DeLon, how can you guys bottle up what you did in the defensive end tonight and bring it into Game 6?
Just gotta bring the same intensity. I know it's easier said than done, but you've gotta watch the film, see what you did right, see what you did wrong, and know that they're gonna make adjustments, and just try to do the best you can to come into that game with a great mindset and great intensity.
DeLon, how important was Jalen setting the tone offensively in that first quarter?
Very important. It gave us a cushion. We had like about a 10-point lead, I feel like, and I took some weight off of our shoulder, and we knew that we got to continue to play with that intensity and move the ball.
Early in the postseason, what was your approach when you weren't getting minutes? Like, what do you do to stay ready?
I don't know what I did. I don't even remember. I just feel like I was just here. I try to stay as locked in as possible. I wasn't sure if this opportunity was going to come, but it did come. Our backs against the wall, and I'm just happy that I was able to make a positive impact so far. And I feel like once I get more rhythm, my wind up under me, I feel like I can have more of an impact.
Wright didn't score but had 3 assists and played excellent D. The only Pacer double figures tonight, Pascal Siakam. He had 15. His postgame comments coming up. The Knicks never trail tonight and beat the Pacers 111-94. That means we have a game number 6 Saturday night at the Pacers. Hour-long pregame show at 7. Hour-long postgame show after the contest. Pascal Siakam, the only Pacers starter in double figures tonight with 15. Here he is now after the contest.
We've been a resilient team all year. I think we've shown so far that we can fight, we can bounce back, and again we've been playing against a really good team, and we beat them at home. They came back at the home floor and they executed well. They played better than us, and I just think that we've been all year just an amazing team at just bouncing back, and our strength has been just being together, fighting hard together, staying together no matter what. Nobody put us had us being here right now. We up 3-2 in the conference finals. Like, it's amazing. And I'm so proud of my team. Just how hard we've been playing all season, and we've had a lot of low points in our season, but just to see the connectivity and when things was going bad, like all of us always got together. We fought hard, and that's why I'm proud of this team. And you're gonna have bad games. You're gonna have games where this is the NBA. This is the NBA, And there's going to be times where a team is going to play hard, like they're going to beat you, and that happened, and it's fine. And I think that our team has just been so excellent. I just bounced it back, and I'm proud of every single guy on our team. And we fought tonight, and they were the better team, which happens in a basketball game, by the way. So it's just all about us, man, and it's always been us against the world, and I don't expect it to change. And it's something that I always told my teammates, like, yeah, like we here, and nobody wants us here, but we here, and we broke any barrier that was there, we broke that, and we got here, and we up 3-2 in the series, and we have an opportunity to go back home, and show what we're made of, and I have no doubt in my teammates, and I have so much faith in them, and I know that we're gonna give everything we got, and yeah, so. You guys have a good night. You have a good night too, bro.
A little positivity there from Pascal Siakam. Karl Anthony Towns, huge night, double-double. His post-game reaction is next. Knicks beat the Pacers. Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points, 12 in the second quarter. Jalen Brunson tonight had 32. The Knicks dynamic duo. As we take a look, you see that these two guys, second teammates in NBA history, score at least 20 points in each game of a conference finals. Kobe Bryant and Shaq, the only other duo to do it back in 2002, a minimum of 5 games. Let's now listen in to Towns at the post-game podium.
You guys were plus 26 in the paint tonight. Did you come into this game with the intentionality to aggressively attack the paint?
I just came into the game just thinking about being ultra aggressive, and if I get a chance to go downhill or impact the game, I wanted to do that. So tonight was a great night for us, executing our game plan defensively, and it helped us offensively get going a little bit too with those transition points.
Kat, you've been adamant all year that your bench puts in the work behind the scenes, and that when given the opportunity to show what they can do, that they would deliver. Just last few games, Landry in the lineup, DeLon in the lineup, their net ratings are obviously positive in their minutes. Just what have you seen from them meeting the moment and just showing up when the team needs them?
I mean, it just talks to the professionalism that they have, to be ready for, their moment. They did a great job of just, every single day we see them working, we see them always being ready for us. So if we ever need them, that they could come in and impact the game. And this series has shown their professionalism and shows their character, and I hope the whole world and the fans recognize it.
Hey, Karl, what did you feel before the game that let you know that you were good to play with the knee?
I looked at the game and it said Game 5, do or die. That was pretty much all I needed to see. Shout out to our medical staff. They gave me a chance to go out there and compete tonight. I'm glad I was able to. We put a lot of hours in trying to get myself ready just so I could have a chance, and God was good. I was able to go out there and play.
That's obviously a much better defensive performance than really anyone's had against them in this whole playoff.
Yeah.
Do you think what you guys are able to do today is something you can keep on doing against that team?
We have to. We have to. It's we have no more room for error. It's our backs are against the wall, and it's every game is do or die. So we don't bring that energy, we don't bring that execution. Our season will be over.
Kat, I know. I'm sorry, I don't have the mic. Sorry, go ahead.
Kat,
I have the mic.
You guys were in the same exact position towards the end of this game as you were in Game 1, where you're up 14 with under 3 minutes left. This time, you guys don't let them get that second life.
Yeah, it was getting spooky.
Yeah. But I mean, was that something you learned about Game 1 that kind of like you guys had to apply that sense of urgency?
Yeah, I mean, I think that anyone who says they didn't, is lying. We understood that. You're looking at the game, and we went from a 16-point game, or 18, and now it's a 12-point game. We go all time out. You understand you got to get one. You can't let them. We didn't want to give them life, and with that team being so good and they played so well this series, you want to execute at a high level, and I think we did a great job of just understanding the situation, getting a good offensive possession, getting some good defensive possessions, putting ourselves right back in a space that we didn't do, like you said, in Game 1.
So Cat 24-13. Jalen Brunson tonight, 32. We're awaiting his post-game comments coming up.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
So the Knicks win tonight. They force a Game 6 at the Pacers. Hour-long pregame show at 7. Hour-long postgame show follows. Tyrese Halliburton tonight, a playoff low for him this year with 7 field goal attempts. That's it. Here he is now after the game.
Yeah, rough night for me. I got to be better, setting the tone, getting downhill. I feel like I didn't do a great job of that. But I watched the film. There were some different things they did defensively. But for the most part, I think their base stuff was the same. They picked up the pressure a little bit more, tried to apply more as the game went on. But yeah, I got to be better, and I'll be better in Game 6. But I watched the film and learn from it like I always try to do, and be prepared for Game 6.
Starters in general as a unit weren't particularly good tonight. What did you feel like was going wrong for you guys, and how much do you feel like stems from that stuff you just said?
Yeah, you worded that in a nice way. Yeah, we weren't great as a group. I thought, we lost the margin battle today. I thought they did a better job in the margins. We turned the ball over too much, didn't rebound to our ability like we have shown this series. And when you do those two things against these guys in a game that comes down to so many possessions, it's tough. It's tough. So we got to be better as a group. I think our pace has to be better, and that starts with me. I got to be better there. As a group, we've shown that we can have some success, this playoffs, and it was a rough showing for us tonight. So, we'll watch the film, see where we can get better, and be prepared for Game 6.
Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Wally, I'm amazed a player of his elite stature, how up and down he can be. I mean, it's just astounding to me, and I think everybody that watched that game, that after what he did in Game 4, he only gets off 7 shots tonight in Game 5.
Yeah, this is a consummate team. The system, the way they're coached, and what Rick Carlisle is getting out of these guys, he's done an outstanding job. The franchise continues to just ascend. They have young guys that work hard. They continue to get better. They answer the bell. So that's what the Knicks are up against. They're against the team that they have games like this, but when they have games like this, they show up like a Game 7 last year, and they don't miss, and they put on a historic performance. So the Knicks have to be ready for Indiana to give them their best, and they're going to have to beat Indiana, I think, at their best in Indiana if they want to force this to a Game 7.
But I'll just say real quick here what it also shows you, because in Game 2 and Game 3 he wasn't great, right? He was not doing – the Knicks defended him well, and then in Game 4 they defended him poorly. They changed some things up, double screens. The Knicks were ready for that more in this game. So to me, Game 4, his performance was a lot about the Knicks defense.
Right. All right, Deuce McBride helped the Knicks defense as always. His post-game reaction now from the Knicks locker room.
So, Deuce, what did you like about the team's defensive effort tonight?
I mean, it started with a point of attack with Mikel, just picking up, making things hard. And then everybody just talking, communicating a lot more, and I feel like we just had an edge to us tonight.
When you talk about the point of attack with Mikel on Tyrese, was it what are you specifically doing against him?
I mean, honestly, it's just, guarding your yard. At the end of the day, just, not wanting to get scored on, taking pride in defense, and that's what he's doing.
What about the effort that Jalen came out with in that first quarter? How much did he set the tone?
Oh, big time. Obviously he's our leader, so when we see he's playing like that, we all just want to do anything we can to get the win.
As far as the effort that Karl Anthony Towns gave you, can you talk about what he provided tonight?
Yeah, he was huge. Obviously, when Cat's doing what he does, it's big for us. His impact on the offensive end is huge, but he really stepped up on the defensive end, just being in the gaps, really keeping guys out the paint.
That whole second unit seemed like defensively upped the intensity when they came in. Guys you haven't been using all the time, Landry and stuff. Just kind of what was the mindset there, just defensively, to kind of up the intensity?
Yeah, we just wanted to play to our defensive strengths, honestly. We felt like we didn't bring it the last game, and we just wanted to make sure that, if they're going to make tough shots, they're going to make tough shots, but we wanted to make it hard on them.
All right, so Bridges in this second unit on defense, I mean, we've talked about it, it's important to point out how effective and how important that second unit has been, especially tonight, Alan, in the second quarter.
The second quarter, you let Karl-Anthony Towns kind of be the centerpiece and carry the offense a little bit, and then you have 4 good defenders around him that get after it, that are really good at slowing things down for the Pacers. And, you know, it is working. And that's again, the beauty of a long series is the adjustments you can make and the lineups you can find. And so while Rick Carlisle has had his adjustments and he's done some things, Tom Thibodeau has made his adjustments, and he's found some things that are working right now. And if he can get it to work one more game, we'll have a Game 7.
He's got to get it to work one more game. I'm going to be very interested to see if this team can pull off this win. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be so exciting to see how this Game 6 plays out. I know this team is not content with just winning this game. They have to go into Indiana, do or die, and get a win.
All right, well, this stage is set for Game 6. We'll see you Saturday night. We have our hour-long pregame show, as always, at 7, and an hour-long postgame show after Saturday night's Game 6. And if the Knicks win Game 6, we have a Game 7 back here in New York on Monday night. Cat 24 and 13 tonight. Big minutes from Mitchell Robinson. Josh Hart had a double-double. Jalen Brunson had 32. And the Knicks beat the Pacers tonight. Final count, 111-94. Have a great Friday, everybody, and we'll talk to you on Saturday night. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.